So we've got to talk about Ranger Reject. Sadly, I missed the last 2 episodes, but I'm back, still with some health issues, but I'm okay to work again, so I felt it would be nice to take the time today to talk about episodes 8 and 9, which are both pretty good in their own right. So obviously, after you watch this, go check out my video on episode 10 here, but for now, let's get into episode 8 and 9. Episode 8 picks up from the last one, where we continue the exams, and we'll keep my thoughts on this one brief. Don't want a mega long video here, but by the end of it, Dee and the others basically use teamwork to get the yellow key before they cleverly set up this plan to essentially fake the exam ending. It works, but when I first watched the first episode, I really was eager to obviously get to the Komachi stuff, which is massive, as she confronts the boss monster Peltrola. Now, someone pointed out in the episode 7 video, I originally thought Komachi was one of those anime Lolita types, you know the one, they're annoying. But someone set me straight, and this scene confirms really that Komachi is just petite and short and looks like a child, so she's got the bad genes in her family. But Peltrola drops a couple hints about her character that we may get into in the future seasons. Seems as if Komachi's big thing is that she takes aging hard. Don't we all? And Peltrola implies he can keep her looking young forever if she joins them, and she finds that ridiculous to betray her comrades over something as vain as appearances, and so, oh my god. I love it. She uses the divine artifact to attack Peltrola, and she does so while pouting. I mean, obviously, Negi Haruba, the king of the pouting anime characters. So, of course, Komachi would be pouting here. Speaking of humorous, I love it when they went to go recruit Tsukasa, and you see him, and he's a Dark Souls character from Dark Souls 1 when you lose humanity. Also, even crazier is when he muscles up like All Might, he does so in cross sections of his body. Honestly, it looks super gross, but that's also kind of why I liked it too. When do you ever see super gross stuff in anime? So I think that was a positive to the overall series, that it's something a little unique. We also get Sleazeball Ishikawa in this too, who takes advantage of Yukino. And if you could label Ishikawa as someone from our world, he would absolutely be the 30-year-old Discord mod creeping on goth or emo women. You know the one, calls them kittens. It's disgusting, obviously, and I feel bad for Yukino because she clearly has put trust in him, misguided trust, but that also shows that Yukino is still young. She doesn't know the way that people can take advantage of others, especially when it comes to the opposite sex. Poor girl, and shame on Ishikawa. But the big moment of this episode is when Koguma sacrifices himself, which does end up saving Komachi's life. And honestly, we didn't get a whole lot from Koguma in this series. I think he had a purpose and he served it well, but I did care when he died, which is a testament to Negi Haruba's writing. By the end of the episode, we do get another Star Wars showdown between Shion and Dee, which is probably the best thing to come out of Star Wars since, like, I don't know, 1983. But that's gonna be it for my thoughts on episode 8. I know I missed some stuff. If I did, I apologize. I just didn't want to give myself a huge workload right after dealing with a bunch of health issues. Moving on to episode 9, it picks up with Komachi, who is down and out and in a pool of her own blood, looking about as abused as a $2 steak. Draggy-kun finds her, and so she asks them to tell Blue. My guess is that Blue knows something Komachi and him only know. But I wonder if Komachi and Blue are cut from a different cloth than what the other keepers are, meaning, is Blue not as much of a villain as we thought? After all, Komachi actually seems like a genuinely good person. We pick up with the final exam, and Angel has got that dirtbag Ishikawa pinned down, and so he calls her a tomboy. Which, is that true? If so, sign me up. I'm all aboard the tomboy girlfriend train here at the Sea Tactics. Also, this studio, at any chance they are given, animate Angel with jiggle physics. Same with Rin when she faces off with Tsukasa. It's like the animators know exactly what they're doing here. But she feigns giving up while Yukino and Yamato face off, and I can't help but feel sorry for Yukino after that last episode. Also not sure how to feel about Yamato, as more and more he's starting to act like Sanji. Generally though speaking, this opening sequence immediately stood out to me as having a big budget, so I'm pretty sure this telegraphs that this episode is going to be an absolute monster of a time. Pun intended! This episode we got a pretty cool flashback to Yukino, which came out of nowhere but was a pleasant surprise. Turns out that Yukino, despite how she looks to the eye, had it quite rough growing up. Growing up all alone, she admired the Dragon Keepers, and so she sought a future where she could have people attracted to her and not have to be lonely lonely anymore. And it's sad, but that's kind of where she gets her strength, which is from her weakness. And Yamato, seeing this, saves her from D's attack against her. He explains in a nutshell that he wants a harem, but it's not what he wants out of the Rangers, and tells Yukino he can't help trying to protect a pretty girl like her. So, couple things. 1, this guy has some sort of riz. 2, ew, Sanji. 3, of course they're gonna be a couple, duh. Tsukasa, on the other hand, tanks every shot from laser weapons because of his hardened muscles and nearly punches the head off of Rin until she surrenders, which, it feels too easy, But hey, she did surrender twice, so I guess this one's legit. Angel, on the other hand, is pinned down by Ishikawa after her weapon runs out of energy. She gets in a car, but is met by Ishikawa, who reveals how much of a scumbag he is. He basically explains he's trying to uphold his random values he thinks is important, but really they're all just symbolic, and he is essentially pretending to be something he isn't. Ishikawa, in that sense, is just very phony and fake, caught up in keeping airs rather than leading by example and action. So Angel, being quite possibly one of the coolest characters now, blows up the car they're in, and somehow they both survive, given a thumbs up. It seems to me that Angel has some sort of hidden power that they're teasing, which would explain what she is able to do here. But what kind of power could it even be? Are there people in this world who can gain such powers? As well, her name is Angel, and she looks like one. So is this character symbolism for a greater character purpose? Like, are her powers something much more important to the central plot of the series itself? This raises so many questions, you have no idea. But Ishikawa does get his own comeuppance for how cowardly he is when Muscle Man himself shows up to take over, which leads to Angel giving a very Arnold-like thumbs up. Angel best girl confirmed. We also get a pretty cool showdown between Kai and D that had some really cool visuals, and D and their clashing, which had a very cinematic taste to it. It's here I realize they're more similar than they are different, which is probably why they're clashing so much. They both are motivated initially by revenge, and for a minute I thought D could see past it, but no, it seems he himself is still driven by revenge as well. So there is a bit of this dynamic between the two where they're both similar, but they can't look past their, ironically, similarities to join up. Because in the context of this exam, it's turned two similar people against each other, which I like that a lot. It's this subtle, sinister thing with the Rangers that this show is very good about doing at pretty much every point. In other words, it's the system that's the issue. Though I think it's really cool how Haraba-san is writing Komachi, because she shows up, they describe her as a monster in combat, and you think that because of her ties to this organization that she would just be messed up. But no, as it's revealed in the last episode and the one prior, she's actually genuinely trying to help people and is more closely a representation of what you think the Rangers would be about. So in a way, it's not a total subversion. It makes you think there will be a subversion with Komachi, which in turn is what creates that subversion. And that continues here, where Komachi tells the Blue Ranger he's gotta be better or else the public will be scared of him. So it's really cute. Komachi has this, this motherly side to her that's always trying to stop Blue from doing this heinous thing. In a way, it's a similar dynamic to John Connor in the T-800 and Terminator 2, trying to teach him the morally right way to do things as a way to humanize him. It's really clever. She also gives him this order that he's, not to talk in front of anyone anymore after seeing the cat that presumably this guy brutalized, I think. Poor thing. So we cut back to the present, where Komachi gives us the reason for this, and she doesn't want him to be misunderstood, which is very noble. But when Blue finds her, she gives him the artifact piece and permission to talk as he goes out and seeks vengeance for, essentially, his hetero life partner. So surprisingly, Blue confronts X's, who is mimicking Ranmaru, telling him it's judgment time like he's Judge Dredd. Which, by the way, come on, Carl Urban, get that sequel. But it's really cool moment. X's is running from Blue and all she can think about is repaying gratitude to Peltrola, even though he's this crazy murderous monster who very clearly has a warped and twisted sense of love for his underlings. So you think he's going to kill X's, but he instead throws her into a moving truck and basically tells her that he's not going to kill her. Oh, no. he's going to beat her repeatedly with a lead pipe as a way to get payback for what happened to Komachi. And he basically just starts stabbing her with the pipes, cuts her leg off, totally brutalizes her, and even picks her up by her head and just completely dehumanizing her, stabbing random parts of her body with these lead pipes. That was so brutal to see, and her voice acting was, the scene was just very uncomfortable with her screams, begging him to stop, pleading. So clearly Blue is unique in that he has seemingly no humanity to speak of, and the only thing keeping him leashed is Komachi. So kind of a very similar dynamic to Ilya and Berserker in Fate Stay Night, except Berserker didn't drain the sanity of Ilya, and I guess Blue didn't drain the sanity of Komachi. But this inhumane torture from Blue causes X's to face the reality of who she actually is because of all of this suffering she's going. The writing really is painting the picture that X's is maybe a bit understood, a bit mistreated, and is only trying to do what she thinks is the right thing by her own society's rules. Granted, that involves hurting humans to a degree, but you do still feel a lot of sympathy for her because she was this hollow soldier given a purpose by Peltrola. There's a bit of humanity attached to X's that the Rangers and the boss monsters simply don't have. And of course, you can't have X's die, so D accidentally stops Blue from killing her, and for a split second, I thought she was gonna die because it was such a well done scene. But yeah, X's is way too important to the plot, and we also know how marketable characters like X's are too, so no way they're gonna kill one of their stars of this story yet. But another big surprise, D actually tries to kill Blue, and when it doesn't work, he uses the divine artifact to try and kill D. I also like how D tries to save face when he realizes it didn't work by saying he's trying to save Koguma, which works because while D knows that's actually X's, Blue doesn't know that he knows that. He just knows he's trying to protect Koguma. Though obviously that's, not the case, and it doesn't matter. Blue has its side either way. He's gonna beat him up, but he's still on their side. But we get this cool mini chase sequence where Blue is hunting down D and X's, which leads to cool explosive action, literally, and even X's is humorously driving a car into Blue at top speed, blowing up in this ridiculous showcase, very reminiscent of some Michael Bay films. We also get this badass shot of Blue emerging from the flames, just totally this imposing force, which was a very strong way to finish the episode. I honestly am more and more surprised with each episode how they're able to humanize pretty much everyone while also reminding the viewer that pretty much everyone has a monstrous dark side to them as well. Blue's human side is Komachi, but still, he's an emotionless machine. Then you have X's and D who want vengeance and you sympathize with them for their mistreatment, but they're also still monsters who are reckless and controlled by boss monsters to some sort of degree. It's really cool, and I like the shades of gray writing because it's done in a clever way. As for the after credits scene to set up the next episode, it's quite shocking. X's basically gives up, Blue is too strong, and reveals where Peltrola is. However, what's interesting is that D didn't know that Peltrola was alive, implying that he thought he was dead like all of the other supposed dead boss monsters, which makes you reconsider everything in this very Attack on Titan-esque twist where it turns out that they've been lied to or brainwashed this entire time into believing boss monsters are dead, quite possibly, when in reality they may actually be alive. It makes you really recontextualize the entire plot so far, and also balances the power out where now you have these factions of the Dragon Keeper and the boss monsters at the top, the junior second rung, the Rangers at the bottom, and then the monsters, which just stacks the odds against the underdogs, which is D, X's, and as well the other independent Rangers. Thank you everyone so much for watching this video. A little bit under edited because I just got to get these videos out. I got to move on to some other stuff because I got some big plans coming up in the next couple weeks. Look out for that. Thanks everyone for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.